What's up, YouTube? It's your girl, allegedly A-lease, and I'm here to give you my thoughts and my opinions on Married at First Sight. Let's talk about it. Before we get started, I want to thank everyone who dropped down in the comments section last week and gave their input about what was going on part one of the reunion. I don't want to leave anybody out because you all mean the world to me. So I'm going to list you here and, and that way I don't forget anyone, because I really genuinely appreciate your input. I appreciate your feedback, and I really appreciate the motivation and support. It means the world to me, seriously. You just don't understand. I do have some subscribers that choose not to comment, but they do watch, and I'm grateful for you as well. Thank you so much. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I hope that something is said or done to move you to like, share, and subscribe. Now let's get into it. We opened exactly where we left it last week. Chris storming out, and as per usual, Paige is right behind. Chris tells Paige in production, "I cannot continue to work in conditions like this. Pastor Dwight's gotta go." The only thing that needs to go is that suit that Pastor Dwight was wearing, and it's only because you had one on similar. Chris returns and tells Kevin, "I am so sorry that you had to see me that way. But he was like family." Boy, you are really trying to make sure that you get a career off of this, huh? Chris says, furthermore, he does not have a problem with correction. He doesn't need correcting. One of y'all needed to be corrected about those suits, and I guess he just kind of beat you to it. Kevin asks, well, will you ever have a conversation with Pastor Dwight off camera? And Chris looks at him and says, God bless. That's the most religious thing you said all season, bro. Kevin wants to know what Chris took from this experience. And after he gets done laughing, he says that y'all need to give Paige a do-over. Kevin asks if they will both file for divorce when the time comes. And while Chris gives an immediate yes I will, Paige is kind of sitting over there in la-la land like, oh yeah, sure, I don't know, maybe, possible, I don't know, who knows, maybe. This is probably the most dangerous part of the season for real, because when you think about it, now the cameras are leaving and she's still married to Chris, and it's up to them to take the process that is given, because I believe that they're provided with lawyers. But if she doesn't act on it, then nothing's going to happen. They're still going to be married. After Chris is dismissed, Kevin wants to know how Paige is feeling about everything, the things that she went through, and also the things that she just found out that Chris said about her. She said that this was a very traumatic experience, and she was devastated when she saw what Chris had to say about her face. Now, y'all, I went back like 10 times to watch this one segment to make sure that I was hearing things correctly. I even put it on closed caption. Paige says that she would never be feeding into a man that is clearly manipulating her. She wasn't born yesterday. Well, I guess you were born the day before. It's a little early, but high horse moment. So you mean to tell me that after this man told you how he felt about you to your face, you continue to chase behind him? You continue to allow this man to have his way with you physically and mentally. So Yogi, since you're smarter than the average bear, why don't you share with us what your definition of manipulation is? Y'all, I'm really having a hard time with this one because I wanted Paige to win. I mean, Paige is beautiful. Paige is smart. Paige has got her stuff together at such a young age. And I mean, it can take others a little longer to get what Paige has already got together. She is a gift, a serious gift to any man. And to me, I think I expected a little more when everything started to unfold. I expected Paige to show the world that you don't have to be aggressive in your exit. You don't have to be loud and rambunctious in your exit, but you can say enough is enough and exit gracefully. That's what I expected. And instead, Paige, you stayed and he played. Why? Why didn't you just walk away? You can still show your value and your morals and your spiritual upbringing in a way that shows people you don't have to put up with things or the things like Chris. Now, I'm going to digress because you cannot look for heroes in reality shows, but we were rooting for you still, Paige. We wanted the best for you. So to that point, Paige wants to address all of our comments and concerns. She says, no, she's not slow, and her self-esteem is just fine. She signed up for a process, and she wanted to see the process through. And while that's cute, you put yourself through a process that was damaging because you're now a part of a cycle. And sometimes it can be hard to get off that hamster wheel once you get on it. Kevin did a great job of explaining that he doesn't really think that the viewers were hating. It was more so from a place of concern because she is beautiful, she is amazing, she is smart. And so it's hard to watch her subject herself to what she went through. Side note, Paige keeps talking about that she's emotionally drained from this circus. But sis, you were the ringmaster. You allowed him to continue to play circus in your life, okay? You continue to sit at that show. Nobody told you to stay. You stayed. And I also want to address the point of her saying that she's a Christian woman that was following her Christian duty. It does not make you less of a Christian to walk away. You were not put on this earth to be treated like that. God didn't tell you be no fool, okay? So your Christian values would have still been intact. Just like there's some things that you probably did before you got married that wasn't quite Christian-like, and he forgave you, right? So why is it different now in the marriage? Oh, because you need that excuse. I, again, love Paige, but you got to own, you got to sit in this and own that you stayed because you were in love with the thought of marriage and you were in lust with the idea of Chris. Oh my God, now y'all want to bring out the friend. Now y'all want to bring out the friend? Now y'all want to bring out the friend. Okay, come on, Nancy. Let's hear it, girl, because you about 3 months too late. How delightful. Nancy says that at the wedding, she knew then that this was not going to be a good match. She says she still wanted to give Chris the benefit of the doubt, so she bit her tongue. You must have bit real hard, sis, because you ain't say nothing else. Y'all, Kevin on that J-O-B, and Paige, I'm not talking about Job. He said he want to know where y'all been all season, and we want to know too. Maybe someone else did, but I didn't get a real answer from her response. She stated that Paige's support is not as refined as Paige is. So that means that y'all just left her to deal with this alone all season and y'all were okay with that because you're not refined? I really wish they would stop rewarding Paige's grace in her hanging around because now she has been exposed to this toxic behavior, and whether she knows it or not, she's now been conditioned to put up with some mess. And someone else is going to have to deal with that, whether it be a therapist or another man, which ironically, her friend says, well, the next man's going to have to be patient. He wouldn't have to be if y'all would have stepped in and helped your friend. And with that, we finally close the chapter of Chris and Paige, which is long overdue. Next up is Jacob and Hayley. Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some petty in it. Hold up, wait a minute, let me put some petty in it. Y'all, Hayley cried all season about how Jacob only wore his boots and refused to wear tennis shoes, which he admitted. But as soon as Jacob arrives at the reunion to sit with Hayley for his interview, he crosses that leg and puts that tennis shoe dead up in Hayley's face. I got him. I see your true petty shining through. Kevin asked how it felt to be back around each other since they haven't seen each other since decision day. And Hayley says, oh, it's a feeling. Jacob's like, I got nothing for you, period. Kevin asked Jacob, do you at least want to compliment your wife and how beautiful she looks? Jacob? Bueller, Jacob. In other news, Hayley announces that she's back to her role as a professional bridesmaid. They both agree that nothing meshed with them. Their communication styles, their humor, their overall lifestyles, Jacob's quirks, nothing seemed to mesh to make them work or allow them to work. Jacob says any type of communication from him annoyed Hayley. He says what upsets him more than anything is that Hayley continues to say that he didn't try in the marriage. And I agree, because you tried, bro. You was bending and flexing, going to stuff that you didn't really agree with. Whatever Hayley wanted to change or try, he was right there as a willing participant. She says, well, great, you tried at the marriage, but you didn't try to get to know me. Girl, you sound just like Chris. Foolish. Wow, now this hurts. Jacob says, I don't know if you hated me as a person, but you definitely hated me as a husband. Kevin brings up Jamie and Doug, and he asks Jacob, why didn't he try harder the way that Doug did? Well, let me ask you, why didn't you ask Hayley, why didn't she try harder the way that Jamie did? Jacob says, look, this entire relationship has been disrespectful. And Hayley goes all Chris on him and starts cussing him out. And then she gives us NY Karen. You don't know me, okay? You don't know me. You didn't allow him to get to know you. Oh God, y'all, it's time to talk about the bracelet. Kevin asked Hayley if she could at least admit that it was a nice gesture that Jacob did. And she's over there like, yeah, sure, whatever you want. Unfortunately, the bracelet was not able to make it to the reunion as it has now been returned to the store. We wish you well in all of your endeavors, and I'm sure that you will make somebody happy. Kevin tries to check Jacob for always saying that she doesn't like me. She doesn't. I think it's so unfair how Kevin held Hayley at a different standard than he held Chris. He allowed her to float through the entire reunion without addressing her bad behavior. The only difference in Hayley's behavior versus Chris is that she didn't come back the next morning after the wedding with child and an ex to throw around in Jacob's face. Kevin asked Jacob what will he look for in his next woman. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say opposite of Hayley. Listen, I say it every week because I see it every week. There are women who really want to meet Jacob, quirks and all. And so Jacob will be good, okay? He's good. He's not going to be pressed for a date. The guys all get together minus Chris to meet with Kevin. The experts also sit down with Kevin to discuss the couples. When it gets to Jacob and Hayley, Pastor Cal says, oops, our bad. We thought opposites would attract. Plus, I had a bet going with Dr. Pepper. I lost. Now, they defend Jacob and acknowledge how hard he actually tried in his marriage. And they also acknowledge that it can be hard to overcome rejection from your wife. As they show an unseen clip of Hayley being rude to Jacob as per usual, you could hear Dr. Pepper saying, oh, she's cold. Sis doesn't stop there. She says Hayley's going to have to take a real deep look inside of her because she's put off too much by the small things to the point that she doesn't think that anyone will ever be acceptable to Hayley. Hayley, that's basically shade for you're unmatchable. Pastor Cal says, now I will admit, through all of this, Jacob is gonna have to work on his swag. And I agree, because swag can help you overcome a lot of obstacles and make those connections. Now, when they moved to Chris and Paige, Pastor Cal says that he had to do everything in his power to stay professional, saved, and sanctified, filled with the Holy Spirit. When Chris said that he was not attracted to the face. Now, Dr. Viv answered a lot of questions for me when she says that I wanted to pull Paige out so many times, but every time Paige expressed a desire to stay in the process. So all she could do was sit by and wonder, when will she say, I've had enough? And Dr. Pepper adds a point that I've been saying all season. She said, we wanted to pull Paige out. I wanted to pull Paige out. But we can't do that until Paige wants out for herself. In all, the experts say that they have learned a huge lesson on how to observe future participants because of their representatives being present and being very impressive the way that Chris was. Kevin meets back up with all of the couples and Paige, and they discuss Chris's behavior in Vegas. Eric says he doesn't move like that because he has a professional career to look out for. So getting into a fight with Chris was definitely not at the top of his agenda. So I guess production was really pressed because they are really stretching this out to make this a two-part when it could have been a one-part. They move on to Virginia's party techniques and her statement about passing out on her guy friend's couch. She wants to go on the record to say that she's not saying that she would do it now that she's married. She just wanted Eric to know how close her and her guy friends were. Let me go on the record to say, Virginia, that didn't help at all. As they finally wind it down, thank goodness, they let some of the old couples come back to ask questions, and one of the questions for Paige was, how are you taking care of yourself? And she says, through therapy, family, friends, and writing. And y'all, that's where we leave it. I want to know your thoughts about this reunion. I also want to know if you think that Paige and Chris will really file for divorce. Let's chat about it down in the comments. Until the next time, I'm allegedly A-lease. Peace.